There is a fanfic so infamous that it has its own merch, its own warning label, and its own Wikipedia page.
It's a fanfic so good that people print it, bind it, and then weep over it like scripture.
This is not a traditionally published book, and yet we have one sitting here. So I'd love to learn how you acquired it.
There's actually some conflict around this. There's two sides to this argument. So on one hand, because fanfic is completely free, right? It's completely unethical to profit off of someone else's work. However,
Totally.
because of it takes resources and time to print and bind a book by hand, some people are like, you should be compensated for those resources.
It is a
and that
service.
work. It is a service. And other people believe, no, you should not profit from this in any way.
Yeah.
But this book basically altered my brain chemistry and became my personality for a large chunk of time. So I was like, I will have the physical copy.
So what is Manacled? Well, it has a plot so dark that it's essentially a Handmaid's Tale meets Harry Potter and Hogwarts. If Hogwarts starves you, steals your memories, and then literally fucks you.
Welcome to the Bookmonger Society. Today we're going to tackle Manacled by SenLinYu, which is a legendary Hermione fanfic, and it throws you right into a dystopian nightmare with Hermione Granger instead of Harry Potter as our state's favorite baby vessel.
Nice. And we are writers. And so we're going to come at this podcast a little bit differently. We're going to talk about world building. We're going to talk about fertility politics, some of the trauma and some of the tropes that exist in this book, and whether the villain's wife just has to be a bitch for us to root for Hermione and Draco to fall in love.
And Andrea has never read Harry Potter.
That's right. Leah is going to help me get educated. And if you are in the same position that I am, where I was like, I don't even know what this is, I'd never heard of Manacled before, then this is you can dip your toe into this whole world with me and with us. And Leah's going to help make the landing nice and soft.
Let's dive in.
Let's do it. All right. So our first segment is called Bookmarked. And this is kind of like a previously on kind of a segment where we're going to give a little bit of background and a little bit of vibes instead of just plot. And then we are going to go into something called the margins, where I'm going to give notes that I took basically in the margins. I do not have a printed Manacled. And if I wrote in the margins of this book, how would you feel about that? Would you kill me?
You might not wake up tomorrow.
So I wrote in the proverbial margins of my notes app. So we're going to cover where we are in the book and some of where I am emotionally after reading the first 5 chapters. So this podcast is all about chapters 1 through 5 before the real shit goes down, I hear, in chapter 6. Okay, so this is our first episode of the Bookmongers Society, and it's my first fan fiction, as I already mentioned. It's your first podcast. I'm a podcasting legend, as they say. Nobody says that, but I have done podcasts before. And so let's talk about why we wanted to start with Manacled.
So I came across Manacled just on the internet. It blew up. Like, it was destroying the internet. And I'm an avid reader, but I had never read a fan fiction before. And I was like, well, if it's getting this much hype, it's got to be good, right? So figured out how to download it. And it's over 1,000 pages, and I devoured it in 2 days.
Yeah.
Couldn't put it down. And
that's incredible.
And then I sat in a book hangover for days.
Yeah.
What do I do with this enormous vacant hole that is Manacled? So anyways, and then I fell down into some other fan fiction rabbit holes for a while, and then I just decided to reread Manacled again because you just can't beat it. So when you approached me about this podcast, I was like, hey, I am very obsessed with Manacled at the moment. And the author, SenLinYu, actually got a book deal to essentially republish this. Yeah, very excited for her.
Yeah.
So republish this in a traditional setting. So basically she's going to tell a very similar story, but outside of the Harry Potter world. So within her own world and context. So that comes out on September 23rd. So just a few weeks. And so this was a perfect
very
time.
excited.
Yeah. I'm losing my mind about it. It's fine. So perfect opportunity to do a deep dive on Manacled. And then afterwards, we can talk about Alchemized and how they compare.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, Leah and I both write. Neither one of us are published authors traditionally. I self-published a book in 2018. So I was amped to read something that someone self-published and got a ton of traction over, and that the readers were able to get behind and make famous by themselves, right? It's kind of like the Wall Street Bets guys, right? Like it's kind of like all of the people get together and say like, no, we really like this. It's good. Yes, she starts a lot of sentences with she, but fuck you. I like it, you know? And so, I've probably sworn maybe 8 to 10 times. So perhaps you being the mother, the warnings for people with children or feelings.
Yeah, so there are 2 warnings around this one. One, the content of Manacled is very dark. So there are a lot of themes around captivity and rape and loss of rights. And so that can be very triggering for some people. So if you choose to read it, all of the trigger warnings are at the front of the book. Please be conscientious and read them. And also, because we are talking about very adult content, please be wary of any little listening ears that you may have around you.
Yeah, this podcast is probably not one that you put on while you're driving your kids to and fro from school.
Truth.
Yeah. Maybe at night for you, you know, when in the comfort of your own bedroom. So with that said, let's get into our second segment, which is the margins. Again, Leah has read this twice, so she can't really give kind of like go back in time and give like first impressions or thoughts because you're ruined because you know how this story ends. So I will be driving much of this segment because these are mostly my impressions of having just read the first 5 chapters and never read fan fiction. And I will just say this to brief this as well, okay? So I believe that there are probably 2 groups of people who are going to listen to this podcast. One are people like Leah who are raving fans of this work and eagerly looking for any content that they can consume that keeps them closer to Manacled while they wait for the next book. And then there are people like me who are maybe fanfic curious, who would like to maybe dive into it, but they've heard there's a lot of serious, so they maybe want a friend and a partner to go through this process with. And so if you are in the first camp, I do have some critical thoughts on this work. They come from a very loving place. As I've already said, like, I love that she got published. I think she's very talented. I am into this book, but I am not without critique. So just know, this isn't going to be like a gush fest, okay?
I mean, it is clear, like, it wasn't edited.
Right.
And because of the way it's released, she and other fan fiction writers release it 1 chapter at a time.
Yeah.
So there is there's a little bit of repetitiveness. There's, obviously, copy editing wasn't done. So there are some things. But that being said, it's still a 5-star for me.
Yeah, totally. I haven't started yet because I'm not done. But all right, so let's talk about just the first pages. So, we open on Hermione in a cell, a dark cell.
Completely sensory deprived.
Yes.
Deprived?
You just made it a word. If it wasn't, I don't know.
Completely sensory deprived. That's what. Okay.
I like deprived though. I'm into it. And then she's doing her best like CrossFit routine, right? She's getting that body together down there.
I will say the word burpees did take me out of the story for a second. I was like, we could have done without that.
No, she's down there. She's doing her burpees. She's really doing it. But it's very well written. It puts you right into the world. And then she steps out into light, shocking, and she gets put in these manacles, which basically, she's in the manacles before, right? In the prison, she's in manacles already.
She's already wearing the manacles.
Yeah, and so the manacles keep her from being are female wizards? Are they wizard dresses?
They're witches.
Oh, they're witches. They're just witches. Yeah. Oh, okay. So she keeps witches down.
Yes. I mean, it would work for wizards too, but essentially it represses their magic.
Right. It kind of like, it seems like it makes their magic work against them.
Yeah, it kind of backfires on you.
Yeah. It's a real problem for Hermione. And so the other thing about this world that we're getting pulled into is Harry.
Who is dead.
Harry Potter. I mean, big deal, dead. Ron.
Also dead.
The Weasels.
Also dead.
Yeah. So everyone's basically toasted, and Hermione is left. She's the remainder, but she's got no powers, and the bad guy, the Voldemort. Volda.
Well, you're right, Voldemort.
Is it Volder or Volda?
Voldemort.
Voldemort. I'll say it real fast. Anyways, the Dark Lord. I'll probably just call him. The Dark Lord is in charge, and part of what he's created is essentially the Handmaid's Tale.
I'm gonna back up just a
Go
second.
ahead.
Okay, so in the original books, the war ends when Harry and Hermione are 17.
Okay.
And this fan fiction takes a different turn. So rather than Harry winning at the end, the war keeps going for 7 more years. And at the end of those additional 7 years, Voldemort wins.
Okay.
Yes. So, Harry, the Weasleys, all of them get killed, tortured, and then Hermione gets captured, put into the cell for like 16 months.
Yeah, it's a long time.
So complete, and she can't hear, she can't see for 16 months. So she, uses physical exercise and mental exercises to keep herself sane during this time. And then at some point they decide, hey, Hermione could be useful in this repopulation effort since so many of the wizards have been, killed off. We need to repopulate the wizarding community. Let's host a Handmaid's Tale.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they've tried to procreate between themselves in the 28 families, and it's just not working.
Right. So the 28 families are essentially the old wealthy families that have never introduced any Muggle blood into their families.
Right. The Muggles.
Muggles.
It's such a cute name for humans, right? Isn't a Muggle a human, basically?
Yeah, we're Muggles.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it so cute? Little Muggles. Let's go to point number 2. I like thinking about plots, mostly to understand plot devices, right? Like I love thinking about caper, and one of the things that you always got to do in a caper is like introduce some new person into the scene so that you can explain to the reader what's going on, right? So like I love like figuring out like, okay, what is the plot, and then how are they going to use strategic plot devices to reveal details to the reader. And so this is an interesting little genre bender that we have here, because we obviously have fan fiction. And so the cornerstones of fan fiction are typically like canon remixing, right? Yep. But you mostly maintain the magic system. And then you, in this particular case, have an alternative universe structure where, again, Harry Potter's dead and they lose the war and that whole thing. It's kind of like, metaverse, if people watch like Rick and Morty, right? Like it's a different version of the same world. And then, of course, you have dystopia, because like a Handmaid's Tale, your existence has been reduced to baby making. And then you got the totalitarian, there's a lot of T's. You don't realize when you read that.
Several T's in that one.
There are several T's in that word. You got the totalitarian regime and the state-controlled reproduction, dehumanization, the war aftermath, lots of themes there. And then you have the mystery. Fragmented memory, puzzle pieces coming together, slowly revealed betrayals and secrets. And then what else?
So there is also, a twisted love story involved in all of this. And I don't want to give any of it away, but
it is kind of given away in like the category itself.
Yes, it is.
Which I can't pronounce that word still. The Dramini.
Oh, Dramini.
Yeah.
So basically, Draco, Hermione. Yeah.
I mean, it's given away in that.
It is given away. And I think, yeah, people would kind of categorize it as romantasy. So it kind of falls in there. So, yeah, how we get there, I think definitely has some twists and turns, but it is a major theme.
Okay. And because so this was, when was she writing this? When did this come out? Like 2000. What do we have computers here for if not to look up facts, really?
I want to say it's like 3 years ago.
Really? No.
Let me see. Okay, well, let's
It's way
find
more than, or
Okay.
it's, right?
Well, let's find out.
Who's going to find it first?
It's a race. 2019
2019.
is when it was finished.
Okay. When did you read it?
So I read it a year ago.
Oh. Okay. So you're like, so I would imagine by that time then everybody knows that it's like a, are there other, I cannot say that word, Hermione?
Hermione?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thousands probably. Yeah. There is a whole Hermione universe.
Okay.
That
people are really into this.
Yeah. Everyone.
Why?
I think there's a lot of allure to a morally gray romance.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's like isn't she really like the only female character that it would happen with? Like what other female character is there in Harry Potter?
I mean, there are no other like
Main
ones. I mean,
Yeah.
you could arguably say maybe like Luna Lovegood, maybe, or Ginny,
Yeah.
but Hermione is the primary.
The one. So
Yeah.
you got to hook her up with the morally gray character.
Yeah.
Because we love Hermione.
Oh, we adore Hermione. She
Yeah.
is a freaking badass.
Right. Yeah. So you gotta, that's your only option,
Yeah,
really, if
really.
you're like doing it, I guess. Okay. So let's talk about point number 3, which are excuses to get behind this romance. So, of course, again, I'm not a Harry Potter person. I, see Hermione as like a nice girl,
She's a nice little quiet academic. She's not quiet, but
Yeah.
definitely a
Yeah, I mean, very
a nerd.
studious,
Very
half muggled. That's clear to me, right? A little bit of an outcast because of her, mud blood. So that's my understanding of Hermione, and I really don't know anything about this Draco character.
Again, because you haven't read this.
Yeah.
So Draco was like her high school bully. Like he was relentless in bullying her, and so not only
Is it just the muggleness of it, or
so yes, it's mostly the muggleness, but also Draco was actually very intelligent, and Hermione had higher scores in school than he did, even though he had all the best tutors, he had all the best resources. He comes from one of the wealthy, royal 28 pureblood families.
yeah?
And so there's also this element of jealousy. Like she shouldn't be able to perform at the level I can.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Okay. So very early on, they're talking about the High Reeve, which is the High Reeve. I'm supposed to be waiting for all the canon stuff for the end, but I'm already off script. So is the High Reeve a concept in Harry Potter that the Dark Lord has like a right-hand guy?
No, so this is something that is new to this universe.
Okay. And so there's all of there's this like the High Reeve is like this killing machine, basically. Like killing is a bad thing. You're not supposed to be killing people with your spells or power, or what is it called?
The killing curse is what it's called.
The killing curse, yes. So you're not supposed to be doing that, but it's supposed to like take a lot out of you when you do it. But this High Reeve character can just go on a killing spree.
One right after the other, boom, 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 which should not. Yes, most people cannot do that because yes, it is extremely draining. It takes a large amount of hate in order to produce the curse.
So we find out like fairly early on that so there's High Reeve, and then Hermione gets shipped off to and like the verbiage that they use is owned by Draco, right? So like she is basically his property, old school slave style, like not a human, property of this man. This is essentially the Hogwarts class reunion from hell.
Oh my God, yeah.
I could not stop thinking about every person that Hermione meets is like, hey, Hannah, girl, what happened to your eyeball? You know what I mean? Like everyone she meets is in a state of just like like most class reunions, people mostly just get fat. But Hermione is like,
Yeah,
dude, what happened to your eyeball? Oh my God, that person's dead. And that person's dead. Well, surely not everyone could be dead, right? Like she just keeps naming people to like, nope, dead.
Or if they're alive, they're about to be a sex slave. So
Right. So there are really two paths and all of these girls then must be half muggles, because you can't be a witch without being a little some wizard blood, right? Don't you need some blood of the wizard?
no. So Hermione is completely muggle born. So both of her parents are totally muggle.
Oh, I thought she was a halvesy.
No.
Oh. Well, color me surprised. Okay, so some of them are just straight, or are all of them straight muggles then?
No, some of them do come from magical families.
But they still find themselves sex slaves because they're the enemy. They're part of the Order of the Phoenix.
Yes, so they're part of the resistance. So yes, this is their punishment.
Yes. Okay. So that's pretty much it. You either die or become a sex slave if you were part of the resistance. Or maybe there's some that have gotten away. Maybe.
There might be some people who have escaped. Maybe some people are still in prison. But yeah, anyone who was found who was part of the resistance is not in a good place right now.
Right. Really rethinking their life choices a little bit, probably. And again, I really knew nothing about this. So when it turned into like the Handmaid's Tale a little bit, I was like, and they're in the same exact outfits, I was like,
Yeah.
interesting. Like we're just going right there. But it is such a different dynamic because in the Handmaid's Tale, these are all strangers. Like you have people who are mostly like political climbers. Right? They didn't like win a war necessarily. Like a lot of these people that are that get handmaids are just like bureaucrats, and they're getting like strangers and they haven't done anything, right? Like handmaids are just like viable, viable, fertile women, and they're just like, whoop, all right, now you get owned by this man. Whereas this is like, it's like a consequence of war, and then you all know each other. And I just was thinking about like my own high school class, and I was like, oh my God, to like
Horrifying.
to be like owned and in a situation where you're going to be raped every month by this dude that you like were better at history than. Like
And what's even more horrifying
so painful
is the reason the manacles are so horrifying is not just because they repress your magic. It also makes you incredibly compliant.
Yeah.
So it compels you to just willingly do whatever they ask you to do.
Yeah.
And it also compels you not to hurt yourself. So not only are you in this situation, you also can't escape.
It's intense. So speaking of the walls, right? Because I think as a writer, you're trying to kind of close off every exit, right? That the reader would be like, well, why doesn't she just?
Right.
Well, why wouldn't she just? And like, I think she does an incredible job of like, nope, can't do that because of the manacles. Nope, you can't do that because of the mind poking. What is the mind poking thing?
Occlumency. I think it's pronounced occlumency. Okay, I feel like we should look this up. Hold on.
Occlumency.
Occlumency.
Occlumency. Occlumency. Occlumency, schmonclumency. What? Okay, so isn't there like a legilimency?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
I think we should look that one up. We gotta look that one up too. It's kind of, okay, there's two sides to the coin, right? So occlumency is the ability to control your own thoughts, to arrange your own thoughts, hide your own thoughts.
Okay.
Legilimency, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is the ability to, enter someone's mind and read their minds. And it is painful for the person whose mind you're entering.
Right, because our minds don't really want intruders.
Right, we don't like people in there. We're like, no, that space is mine.
Oh, no. I don't want you to be up in this whole business. That's nuts. And so, okay, so the legilimency.
Okay, we're going to listen to it. Get ready. Here we go.
Legilimency.
Legilimency? No.
I can't even say it now. Legilimency.
Legilimency. I would not have guessed that G becomes a Jill. Do you know what I mean?
And then if you're someone who has the power, you're called a legilimens.
A legilimens.
Just so you know.
Legilimency. Okay, this to me feels like kind of like Superman. You know how Superman can just do everything? Mm-hmm. It's like, why pick one thing when you could just like do the trump card?
Do all the things.
Yeah, like that's what legilimency legilimency feels like to me. I don't know. It's like there's something about it that feels like too good to be true. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay. Like, so now she can't even have a thought to herself. Okay.
Right. Like you can just, pop in there and read all the thoughts. There is a little bit of nuance to it in that it does take a certain amount of skill to do it. So some people are better than others, both at, entering the mind and finding what they need. So it's not like you just hop in there and can all of a sudden see every single thought that they've ever had and all of their intentions.
It's like an Easter egg hunt.
Right, yeah.
You're just like, ooh.
Digging around.
I got one here. Let me see what's in there. Ooh, candy in that one. It was amazing.
Oh my God.
What's that? Ooh, masturbation. Keep that one for later.
Now that she has the manacles on, she can't actually arrange her thoughts the way she could before. So I'm giving away a little bit of a spoiler here. But
Oh, okay.
she was a natural occlumens, so she could very effectively arrange her own thoughts and hide certain thoughts and store them and repress certain emotions, that kind of thing. So before being imprisoned and before the manacles were put on, she was actually very adept at this. And so now that she doesn't have this ability, she's much more vulnerable than she was before. So it's also highlighting that juxtaposition.
Okay. And is this a concept that's in Harry Potter?
A little bit, although it goes into way more detail in this, as does the healing abilities too.
Yeah.
Which you'll see as you go through. So yes, healing is a thing in the original Harry Potter books, but it is much more nuanced and complex in this story.
Okay.
And one thing I think it's worth touching on too is this mind poking, as you call it, really highlights a strong theme that we'll see throughout. I won't give too much away, but this theme around memory and identity. So when Hermione comes out of the cell, she's missing about a year and a half of her memories. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't say missing. They're locked away. And so much of what happened in that time defined who she was, who she is, and now she's missing that critical piece of herself.
Yeah.
So it also, layers into all of these other elements of just who she is as a person.
Yeah.
Like amnesia is kind of an overused trope, but I really liked it in this context.
Yeah. Well, I'm reserving how much I like it because it feels a little, like I said, a little too convenient.
I get it.
But let's see. So she's doing this thing, right? Like where she's like acting pliant and cooperative, and then in her mind thinking like, oh, I'm gonna get out of here and I'm gonna like do all of these things. But like she knows that they're gonna read her mind. So why are you bothering? Maybe it's just one of those things where it's like it's impossible to stop thinking that, I guess.
Right. You can't not think about that. And they are of the opinion that if you think all you want, there's nothing you can do about it anyway, because the manacles will prevent you from doing anything that will allow you to escape or hurt yourself.
Yeah.
So you can plot all you want. You won't be able to act on any of it. Be as creative as you'd like in your head.
So my last and final note here is I do think SenLin is just a master of sadness, really.
Man, I know.
She writes sad really, really well, starting at the beginning when she's just in this dark cell and Hermione is going through it, all the way through when she is just trying to get through a doorway and down the stairs and like the trauma that she feels. I mean, it is all super, super well written.
I agree. She is just a master of writing trauma and the effects of the isolation, the imprisonment, the rape and pregnancy. Once we get to those points, but in a way that doesn't feel overly self-pitying, right? It's just so quietly devastating.
Yeah.
It's so well done.
Yeah, there's no like sobbing and like speeches and there's not even a lot of blood really. And obviously she's not using the word sad, but you're just like, fuck man, this is a situation.
It's heavy.
Our girl has found herself in.
And it feels raw in a way that's not like overly dramatized. It just feels
And I think like there are elements of the way that this is written. I kind of like poked fun at it at the beginning where there are a lot of sentences that start with the word she.
Yeah.
And like if you go to an editor, they're gonna be like, you need to mix this up. But I very much like when people compare writing to music and that there is a rhythm that exists in writing that sometimes I think overly edited books get away from. And I'm very interested to see what her style looks like after it goes through an edit, because I think despite the fact that like there are some fairly non-traditional decisions that she's making as a writer in here, they all really work.
Yeah. And she's had the freedom to do it. So I agree. I think that's one thing we should definitely touch on once Alchemize comes out, is how much of those little pieces she's been able to create magic out of actually get to stay.
Yeah. All right. So right after we say that she's a sad savant, I feel like we should have some sort of palate cleanser.
Okay.
And so the palate cleanser that I have for you, it definitely says more about me than the text. But when they covered rules for keeping handmaids, so there's this whole rule book basically that Draco and his wife, Astoria, is that her name?
Astoria. Yeah.
Astoria get. And by the way, I do feel like I wish that they had a name for this, right? Like they call the handmaids in A Handmaid's Tale handmaids. But like, what are these people that are there called?
Yeah, they don't have a dedicated name like your designated baby vessel. Like there's no...
Right. It's like they need a name like Rent-A-Wombs, you know what I mean? Or something. It's just, so like... But anyways, okay, so they're like getting the Rent-A-Womb rules of engagement, and it said no cursing or torturing or physically abusing her. And I go, what do they care if you curse? Well, you're like able to rape them, but do not say, fuck you. You know what I mean? I was like, that is so weird. And then I realized it was cursing, like wizarding.
Yeah.
Never even occurred. Like that's how non-Harry Potter fan fiction my brain was at the beginning of this book. Because I was like, why wouldn't you be able to say like fucking shit? I mean, you're already taking everything else from them. Okay, so the next section is the writer's desk. So in this section, we're gonna talk about some techniques, narrative structures, thematic choices. We're gonna try. That sounds boring, but we're fun. So we're fun writers.
Delightful.
We're fun writers, damn it. And so we're going to keep it as interesting as possible. So my first point here is the very first thing that I thought when I read this, which is, God, she gets such a great shortcut. Fan fiction is such because like I am in the process of editing a sci-fi fantasy book that I wrote, and what you reveal about the world and how you get someone into it without too much exposition is so fucking hard. And she is able to just pop you into a cell, and you already love Hermione. You know Hermione. So like you don't have to explain anything about her. You don't have to explain anything about the context of she's a witch and she's all like, you just know all of those things already, and you just get to dive right into the goods. I was like, oh, so jealous.
House is already built. All you got to do is decorate it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, but one thing, so yes, it is a bit of a cheat code for the writer, but it's also kind of a cheat code for the reader in some respects.
Absolutely.
So sometimes as a reader, I'm like, I just don't have the emotional energy to learn a whole new world and all the new rules and all the new people that I don't care about yet and all the side characters and all the new, like I can't. So I'm just going to like drop into a world that I already know, just like in a parallel universe.
Yeah, totally. I was like, this is fun. I mean, I was like, okay, I already get like, but I get less of it still. I have to put more energy in because I don't know what legitimacy is, obviously. But yeah, it's such a great cheat code. So then High Reeve being Draco. So I was a little like, this High Reeve concept is like built up, and he, you know, is like this, oh my God, nobody knows who it is. Nobody knows who it is. And then she like goes to the house of the High Reeve, and then she turns around and she's like, oh, it's just Draco. Like I felt like it was a little anticlimactic, where I was like, I felt like it should at least have like a beat, like a paragraph of like, as he, I don't know, like as the side of his face enters, you know, like it was just very like, oh yeah, Draco's High Reeve.
And then it's Draco. Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of shock value there. However, because of all the things we've talked about previously, is that moment was very intriguing because, to your point, yes, that's your high school bully who you are now essentially a sex slave to.
Yeah.
And on top of that, one of the nuances is because he is in the, you know, pure blood family line, her being assigned to him to produce an heir for his family is also something that's probably infuriating him, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, him and his wife can't have children for...
Yeah, but Astoria sucks anyways. So you're not even, he doesn't even want to make a baby with her, I bet.
Okay, I know you hate on Astoria and you think that she is, like, the ultimate trope, but I feel bad for Astoria because she has been raised in this society where, you know, she had very high expectations. And in this world, she made all the right choices, right? She went to all the right parties, you know, talked to all the right people, went to all the right schools, married the right person, and still it wasn't enough. And still she's being basically brushed aside for, you know, something that is out of her control.
Yeah, well, because she sucks.
She does. She is a bitch.
I mean, she sucks. Yeah, who wants to be around an asshole? You know what I mean? Like, she sucks.
I mean, but
she's got no personality.
Don't all of them suck?
At least Draco's got a personality.
Oh yeah, okay. Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, she's like wallpaper. She's just there and ugly. You know what I mean?
Ugly. Where'd you get that from?
Ugly, like as a person.
Oh, ugly as a person.
Yeah. I'm sure she's a fine-looking girl. I don't know. I don't remember the description of her as a character. Is she from Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So she's from the original, but she's not a main character by any means. But yeah, no, she's there.
Yeah, I feel we're jumping ahead,
yeah,
which is fine.
Okay, go back.
We can jump ahead. We're gonna make the next point about Astoria because now we're on her. So here's my thing with Astoria is I do think she's a trope. I think I would like something that surprises me about her.
I see your point. I was not bothered by this.
I know. I can't stand.
It's not a sticking point for me.
If I'm going to learn a character's name, as you know, I don't do very good with the names. So if I'm going to learn your name, I want to get a feel for who you are. And I just think she seems a little too two-dimensional. Like, I want a third dimension that really makes me go like, ooh, okay, now I get you.
So, okay, I'm also curious. So you touched on, like, you know, tropes and cliches. How would you define the difference between a trope and a cliche?
I don't know. I don't know. They're probably very similar in my brain. What's the difference?
No, I was just curious because I know you hate a cliche, but tropes are something that can be, you know, used as a tool.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if you saw any nuance there, or if in your brain they're the same thing.
I think they're pretty much the same thing. Yeah, like a cliche, I tend to think cliches more like a phrase and tropes more as like a mechanism. Maybe is the only difference.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. So I was also, again, because I knew nothing about this book, I do no research ahead of time, and I was surprised at fertility being such a big mechanism in this book, because I have a very similar thing. Like, in my world, the humans are dying off, and there's this big, like, how do we repopulate? In their world, it's all about the wizards. How do we repopulate the wizards? We killed off a bunch of wizards from the war, and now we need this Handmaid's thing. But it really goes into, like, mostly Handmaid's thing after that. Like, you kind of forget like even when you mentioned like you killed a bunch of people during the war, I was like, oh, that's right. That's a big deal. That's why they need to repopulate. And so I think the most interesting thing to me is like, I, as a childless woman, think a lot about legacy. And so to me, a lot of the themes in my book, and the reason that there's a fertility crisis in my book is so that it makes the characters think about their own legacy and like, okay, if humans leave this world, what are you going to leave behind? What would you do to help or hurt the other species that are left behind? Like, how tribal are you to your species is basically like what I'm challenging my characters to have to think about and do. But obviously, my lens on that is very different as a childless woman. And so it was very interesting to me that she wrote this like right after giving birth. So there's like both of our worlds have this crisis that is based on fertility, but she is like solving that in her real life by having a child, and I am like actively not by not having children. So I think it's interesting. My point is like how themes like that are colored by the writer's personal experiences, and that's why I fucking love writers and reading, because like this is the same concept with two very different perspectives that we then push onto our characters in a lot of regards to like live through and figure out. And I think by nature then force ourselves to do the same thing.
Damn, girl.
Deep. I know. You had a child.
I still have a child.
Oh, well, that's good. What did you think as you were reading it, as, you know, somebody who actually did the whole child birthing thing?
So I am someone who personally I didn't have strong instincts to like, carry on like my DNA.
Oh, come on. It's such nice DNA, though.
However, I do think that she still pulled a lot of her experience in, you know, going through pregnancy, and her postpartum was obviously weaved throughout this story, and that I could relate to really strongly. So I obviously in no way speak for all pregnant people, but I had a really challenging first trimester, right? Where I felt very disassociated from my body. My mind didn't feel like mine. My body didn't feel like mine. I think about that was my experience even after choosing to be pregnant. Like that was my choice, something that I wanted. Like I couldn't imagine that experience if it was something that was pushed on you and something that you didn't even want. And so that was a really interesting dynamic to me, as well as some of the little nuggets she leaves too. Like, okay, you're going to get to this in the next few chapters, but like she has these excruciating headaches, which, you know, are feel very much like a migraine, and someone who has chronic migraines. I felt those scenes so viscerally. Yeah. Because I experienced that so much more even postpartum. More so even than when I was pregnant. Anyways, so there's a part of me that also wonders if migraines are something that the author struggles with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's a slick way to connect this next point to what we just talked about. So we're just gonna do it. We're just gonna force the issue, which is that one of the things that I love to think about is the idea that everyone is the hero of their own story. It's one of my favorite concepts in humanity, right? Like not just in writing, but the idea of if you have conflict with somebody at work and you think they're a fucking asshole, like, well, they probably think you're a fucking asshole. You know, like everybody thinks the best of themselves and they think that they're coming from the right perspective. And so the interesting thing for me as somebody who has not read Harry Potter, so I need to confirm this with you, but like, does J.K. Rowling ever give you like the Dark Lord's perspective? Like, do you ever see behind the curtain what's going on? I don't even like. What do they have, a castle on a hill somewhere? I envision like Transylvania in my head, which I don't know. But like, do you ever get his perspective or his minions' perspective?
No, you never read from their point of view, and so that's one thing that I really enjoyed about. Okay, so this whole book is from Hermione's perspective.
Totally.
But you do get a little bit more of that like behind the curtain sort of feel in part 2 of this book.
In one of the early chapters, Hermione gets taken to the Dark Lord.
Yes.
And he has a little poke around her brain. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting is that if this is our first view as like Harry Potter fans, I guess I shouldn't say us. If it's your first view into like what happens behind closed doors at the Dark Lord, I feel like it would have been really fun to have him just like egregiously shit on the Order of the Phoenix. I think it's like fairly subdued to some degree. Like they even call the Order of the Phoenix the Order. And I feel like the bad guys would never use such a positive term, right? Like they would give... You'd give your enemy some nickname that isn't so positive as the Order, because the Order sounds big and important. You give it some bullshit moniker like the Schmorter. You know what I mean? Like Order Schmorter. I don't know.
Or the Rebels or something like
that. Yes. Voldemort using the term the Order to talk about Harry Potter, like it just felt like, oh man, like I wish he would like go for them.
Yeah, so rather than just using their actual name, he would actually, yeah, I get that. I know this is something that you explore in your books and how important naming is.
Yeah.
And how it really can define so much about a perspective and the people. And one thing that I think was highlighted really well in this book is this theme of hope. And I'm going to come around to this.
No worries.
So the name, the Order of the Phoenix, obviously, there's the Phoenix built into the name, which is all about,
the city we live in, obviously. It's about us.
And that, obviously, we're the center here. But all about hope and renewal. And one of the things I really loved about this story and about Hermione's role in the Order of the Phoenix is that there's this really strong juxtaposition between the two sides of what I would consider hope is. So on one side we have, Harry and Ron and his band of minions who have this like very shiny, view of hope that like, oh, this is all just going to work out if we give it enough time.
Yeah. We're the good guys.
Yeah, we're the good guys. Obviously, we're going to win. It's going to be fine. And
you
just got to stick it out. Whereas Hermione's view of hope is much more realistic and raw. And I kept thinking of this poem that played over and over in my head as I was reading this book. And I'm going to find it here in just a second. But it goes, people speak of hope as if it is a delicate, ephemeral thing made of whispers and spider webs. But it's not. Hope has dirt on her face, blood on her knuckles, the grit of the cobblestones in her hair, and just spat out a tooth as she rises for another go. And that felt like Hermione through the entirety of this story.
I love that. I got goosebumps.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, so the other interesting thing, Lee and I are both writers, and she's a more good reader than me. But then we are also marketers. Mm-hmm. And so I think that a lot of the reason that I tend to fixate on like what you call something mm-hmm. and how what you name something gives it a certain perception and mm-hmm. a feel and a vibe is because we're in marketing. And so, mm-hmm. I think, the Order of the Phoenix feels like big and good or whatever. It's got a good brand.
Yeah.
And Voldemort, he doesn't have a bad brand either. It's just darker. It's like Wednesday Addams, like she's a little dark, but it works for her, like black lipstick looks good on some people.
It has a presence.
And so I think that I wish it would have been played with a little bit more, but you've totally turned me with your whole hope diatribe. I love that. Okay, so I have to be totally honest. I am missing, this is my last point, and it's kind of harsh, but like I am missing a little bit of give a fuck. Just a little bit of it is missing for me. Mostly because like I feel like, again, it's a little bit of that like trump card issue that I have where I think, Voldemort has won the war and it's like, okay, we've got this girl and she's obviously dope. And she knows something. She knows something that is going to destroy me. And it's like, okay, but really? Like, you killed basically everyone. Like, she knows something that is going to, like, harm you in such a serious way. I feel like it feels really petty for someone who's called the Dark Lord. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So because she's the last surviving member that they have, they do believe that there are more out there. And so, yes, you bring on a really good question. So why would a very powerful Dark Lord feel threatened by one woman who has memories about the last year of the Resistance?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I hope it's worth it, is the only thing I can say. Like, she better be baller. There better be something cool. But I'm in it. I'm gonna keep reading. Okay, so we had this whole section planned called Canon Who Dat, which I think is a very funny name. I was very amused with myself when I thought of it. And we've already covered like most of the things. The point one is that this is like, it's Handmaid's Tale cosplay with like the bonnets and the red dresses. And I don't know if crotchless tights are part of the wardrobe for The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, I think it is.
Is it?
Yeah,
Man,
for two
people's
reasons.
imaginations.
Yeah, easy access and just a deeper sense of vulnerability.
Yeah. So that's like canon point one. And then I just have like logistics rapid fires here that we haven't covered all of them. So let's just go through them and make sure that if you are a listener who doesn't know shit about this world like me, how old is Hermione supposed to be in this?
So in the original books, the war ends when she's 17. This goes on for, another 7 years.
But then 16 months she's in the
And then she's
jail.
so maybe 25.
25? Okay.
Something like that.
I mean,
She's
we're marketers. We're not mathematicians.
mid-20s, somewhere in there.
All right. Mid-20s I can do. Okay. I remember my mid-20s. It was a glorious time to be alive. Okay, so there's this line where Voldemort calls Hermione a good friend of Harry Potter, the boy who died. So, like, is Harry Potter not famous in this world? Like, shouldn't it be, like, the Harry Potter? Or, like, just call him Harry or just Potter? Like, is it necessary to say, like, Harry Potter, the boy who died?
So, yes, quick lesson. So, in the original story, Harry Potter is known as Harry Potter, the boy who lived. Because when he was a baby, Voldemort tried to kill him with a killing curse, but couldn't. And so that's why he has the, lightning bolt scar on his forehead. So because he was known as the boy who lived, that's him just rubbing salt in the wound by calling him the boy who died.
Okay, villain shade. Noted.
Yes,
amazing.
precisely.
Oh my God. So mean, actually, now that I know the context. Sheesh. Okay, so next rapid fire, there's a flashback where Lucius Malfoy looks up at Ron and screams, "This is for my wife." And I was like, where's the previously on Harry Potter information? Because I was like, what happened to your wife, bro? What happened to his wife?
Yeah, so I think part of this is, again, this is where it varies from the original. So in the original, Lucius, his wife, Narcissa, she survives.
Great name, by the way.
Right?
Yeah.
But in this parallel universe, she dies. So it's doing a couple of things. It is giving the readers context for like, oh, she's just another person who did not survive this war.
Okay.
And obviously, this has brought on a lot of vengeance in Lucius. So it's giving context for the motivations behind the characters and showing where it's varied a bit.
Okay. So that's Draco's mom.
Yes. So Lucius and Narcissa are Draco's parents.
Okay. Next, what is a Death Eater? Because I thought that they were like Dementors or like ghosty ghosts. And then I kept reading and I was like, wait, are these just guys? Like, just like dudes?
They're basically, like wizarding fascists. They're,
okay.
They're, marked and branded.
Oh.
And they wear masks. And so, I don't know. They're just kind of like magical Nazis, but like in robes.
Okay. And then like Corbin Yaxley and Thornfinn like Rowley. Like not ghosts, just douchebags.
Yeah, no, those are just some of the like minor villains in the story.
Okay. And then the Sacred 28 Golf Club. Right?
Close. I mean, we talked about this a little bit. So they're the like wealthy pure blood families. There are only 28 of them left. So they're called the Sacred 28. So Draco's family is one of them. Astoria's family is one of them.
Right. Okay. So that's the rapid fire. So I think this is my last point on this, which is I feel like I am not as in love with these first chapters as you were, because I don't know Hermione as well as you do.
Fair.
And I struggled a little bit to like really understand who she is. But we did, when you mentioned that part of the interesting thing for you with her, because I actually didn't realize that all of her memories from like that year and a half were gone. I thought it was just like pockets of the memories.
Yes, that is fair. So there are large chunks. So it is not a sweeping.
Right. But like the most important, like transformational chunks, I assume, are like in the missing parts.
Yes.
And so I wasn't really thinking about that, but I was like trying to connect, like who was Hermione to some degree, right? Like she has, for the most part, not a lot of like inner sarcastic monologue, but every once in a while, like when she's talking about, because she's wearing the bonnet of the Handmaid's Tale, and she's like, the stupid wings of the bonnet acted like blinders. Like I was like, oh, okay, so like, is that who she is? Like, is she like a little sarcastic and, witty in that way? Or is she a far more serious character? I was struggling a little bit with that.
Yeah, so in the original books, we don't get any of the inner monologue from
Oh, you don't?
Hermione. No. So, I mean, she is a main character, but we don't get any of her inner monologue like we do here. So some of this is, obviously the author's interpretation. So in the original, Hermione is very, very sharp. She is witty. She's very observant. But I love this level of like almost like this dry, caustic humor. And you can really just feel her bitterness and exhaustion after all that she's gone through. So yes, some of this is pulling from the original and some of this is the author's interpretation.
Yeah. Okay. But I want to get to know my Hermione a little bit more. I feel like I'm going to soon. Okay. That brings us to our mostly last segment, which is Dark Marks and Darker Thoughts. Another great title for a segment, if I do say so myself. So in this segment, we are going to admit things that we shouldn't. I'm mostly going to do that because I'm the one who's reading this for the first time. Plus, you've made it to the end, and this is our first episode. And so you deserve a reward for sticking with us. And so point one is magic exists in this world. They're magic. They're wizards and witches. Lots of magic. Why do they have to bone to make a baby?
Yeah, like why don't they just have like, I don't know, like Embryonus implanticus?
Yes.
So,
Easy peasy.
I mean, this really comes down to, yes, they could just use the Muggle in vitro fertilization, but they don't, and that's the point. The point is the power play, the dehumanization, the punishment of it all. So yes, they could absolutely figure out a much more convenient way to do this, but the point is the dehumanization.
That's just not very nice. It's not very nice at all.
That is the point.
Yeah, I think I was like, is there no witch in this like group of dudes that's going to be like, guys, I figured this out. You don't actually have to put your penis in them at all. We can just do it via magic.
Yeah, women
Guys,
have all the solutions. Yeah.
That's the problem. They're just, this is why we need to be in rooms of power. We would come with all of the great solutions. Okay. And then when Astoria gets her rules of like how to keep a handmaid, basically, she's allowed the opportunity to watch. And I secretly wanted her to be like into it.
Oh, God.
is dark. I know, Dark Thoughts is the name of this. And then it got me thinking, like, is there porn? Is there like witch and wizard porn in this land?
Okay, well, this was originally a children's story, to be clear. But
Yeah, but now it's not. So is there porn?
I mean, I assume that, okay, in this book, it's not talked about explicitly, but yeah, in Harry Potter fan fiction, absolutely, there's porn.
Yeah.
And yeah, like any society with humans, I'm sure porn exists. Yeah.
Yeah. So because there's some elements of Harry Potter that always feels like 1812 time frame to me. You know what I mean? Like back in they don't have cell phones.
Like, why use a quill? Just use a fucking pen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Like it's very like 1912 to me, and I guess that's why I'm like I don't know. Like, do they have TVs? Like, do they have porn? Because otherwise, like Astoria, might I suggest watching? See, like I wanted her to be like deviant. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna make her evil, make her fucking deviant.
Yeah, rape porn is dark, even for this.
I'm just saying.
I mean, if it was 3 consenting adults, yeah, totally different story. But it is not.
Yeah. See, make Astoria worse.
Yeah,
That's my thing.
That's real dark.
Okay, my last point is shower me with no thank you, which means if I'm going to be in a situation where I'm forced to have sex with somebody I went to high school with, I am not showering beforehand. Like, I'm going to try to make that, like, I will silently resist with my stench.
I mean, I totally agree with you. However, she's wearing the fucking manacles. So when...
Is it part of the protocol?
Yeah, when they say, like, come in and prepare yourself.
Thought of everything.
Yeah, that's just... So, yes, it just adds on to the horror, right? So not only do you have to go through this, you have to make the process more palatable and comfortable for the rapist.
Okay, so this is, like, genius, then, by SenLin.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, this is a genius move of, like, because I didn't even pick up on that. She's genius. It's amazing.
I mean, it's
great.
And there's a few more of those types of nuggets too as you go through where you're like, yeah, what a mindfuck of just having to like make this easier for your captor. Ugh, horrible. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the actual last segment, and it's called To Be Continued because we are going to keep reading this book. I'm going to keep reading it. Leah, are you reading it again?
I had read it like a few weeks ago, so I'm still fairly fresh. So, but you know what? Let's just go for round 3.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay, so this is where I'm going to do some wild speculation about what I think is going to happen next. And we're all going to read Leah's face and try to see if she can not give away if I'm close or far off.
I have no acting skills.
Okay.
Here we go.
So my point number 1, the parents. Why so mysterious, right? So Hermione's parents are mentioned like 4 times, and the bad guys, they just breeze over all of the memories of her parents. They're like, I don't really give a fuck about any of this. Like childhood. Like, okay, yeah, they like took you to a park one day. You know what I mean? They're like, I don't care about any of this. And so to me, I feel like that's pretty tricky, right? Yeah, I feel like they're going to be important for sure.
Am I supposed to comment on this?
No, I don't know. If you want to. Well, you can't say if I'm right or wrong, but I don't know.
Well, strategically, all of these memories were missing, what would, without giving too much away.
Ah, you see? I'm onto something.
All right, on to number 2.
Okay. So my second theory is that Draco designed her chains, right? So like there's all of this like how did he get to be High Reeve so fast and whatever. So like he must have done something amazing. And so it could just be that he has killed like a bunch of people or whatever. And that's like my guy. You know, you're an amazing killer. That's my trump. I'm going to promote you. You know, like that could be what they're doing. But I don't know. I feel like it has to be something extraordinary. And these manacles seem to be like very surprising to Hermione. So it's not like they existed before and she knew about them. These are like, oh, fuck, these things really suck. So somebody brilliant must have done this. So I think maybe it's Draco. Okay. And then my point number 3 is kind of cheating, but I think Draco and Hermione actually end up falling for each other. I think there might be something between those two crazy kids. And it's, the worst kept secret. But I do, I think there's going to be something there.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a Hermione fan fiction, but like, have you figured out the how of it all? That is.
Well, of course not. I'm only 5 chapters in, Leah.
Get on it, girl.
All right. Well, I'm going to read chapters 6 through 25 next. And we're going to chat about that in episode 2.
I can't wait.
Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye.